Worthy, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? What? And that's something to talk about. Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. He can't possibly do anything wrong. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's, impossible. Inconceivable, even. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. All right then. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Just remember, it better be good. So what ties the chief to the murder of Detective Goodman? Possibly the evidence list? Or actually, I think it might be the ID card record. Maybe? Maybe not. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. A lot of 7s. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean the same one because he's a big idiot that used his stupid ID number? I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Oh, dang it, I knew I shouldn't have put my safe code as my ID number because that's, could possibly be traced back to me. Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? He's angry. Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do in the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Skye's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. The trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Oh, I don't know. Hold on. I gotta think for a second. It's not on the ID card record, is it? Okay, I actually wasn't sure about this. It didn't seem right, but looking online, again, it looks like it's correct. So, there was the Goodman's Lost Item Report, half-written document. The date was 2/21 to be submitted to the chief. Now, I thought this wasn't it because he didn't actually submit it to the chief, but maybe he was writing this up and then he saw the chief so he didn't have to make the report? I don't know. But this should be it. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out a lost item report. Oh, I see. Okay. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh! Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait! The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. But you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No, whoa, he's very shocking. A little wiggly piece of hair isn't just for show. Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely committed on the spur of the moment. No one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why else? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body. However, the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I can just order an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time, I thought it was it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. I don't know, wheelbarrow? Wheelbarrow? I don't know. Maybe he moved it in the unstable jar? What did he move the body with? I would assume with a car, right? I'm not sure. I'm gonna try the car. Maybe? Well, I see. Maybe I'll use this later. To move your dead body, Mr. Wright. Huh? Whoops. And I'll help you dispose of it. Chief Gant stated the PD and Lana stated the prosecutor's office. That leaves only one possible way he could have moved the body. The only problem is, how did he get him to do it? Maybe that piece of evidence really did have something to do with this case. I'll ask you again, Mr. Wright. How could the chief have moved the body? Not the Blue Badger, right? I'm not entirely sure if they both stayed at their separate places. Did maybe the murder not occur until after he got there? Somehow, I'm not exactly sure, but maybe the victim walked there himself? Yeah, I don't know. Really? Wow, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Evidence from a past case to Edgeworth brought back to his office by Gant's request. This thing right here. I wasn't sure what this was going to be useful for. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go. By Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it at the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back to the prosecutor's office. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to carry evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order, order, order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. This was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. Chief Gant, I believe... Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier. A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all of this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor? Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body? Do I have any concrete proof? I don't know, do I? I can't just let him squirm his way out of this. I've got to keep the pressure on. Yes, Your Honor. I do have such evidence. Then please hurry up and present it. Just remember, it better prove Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman beyond a shadow of a doubt. Oh, do I actually have proof on this? Not entirely sure. So just to save us some time, we don't actually have proof. So we're just gonna present the cell phone. So, what exactly is this evidence? It's proof as to whether or not it's enough to demonstrate the Chief's guilt. I'll let you be the judge. But I am the judge. Oh, right. Well, what do you think, Your Honor? I think you're an idiot. What I think, Mr. Wright, is I'm going to be late for my meal. I guess it wasn't enough. Please, Your Honor, give me a little longer to consider. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright, Damon. Yeah, okay. I have no proof yet. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, Aji? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the Chief. What? I don't gamble unless the stakes are high. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Aji, I'll leave the rest to you. And he disappears just as a ghost. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer on our nation's law enforcement agency. Why? Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling the witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth... Well, of course, that's going to be Lana Skye, I believe. The defendant, Miss Lana Skye. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task? To dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in... Hold on. Hold it. What? Huh? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claim, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty. for Neil Marshall's murder. This isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Isn't this, like, incredibly suspicious? Like, doesn't it seem like you're being rather threatening there? Okay, we're gonna ignore that, if there aren't any further objections. This court is now in recess. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief. He's something else, pals? Detective Gumshoe. Ha ha ha. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean... Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said? But, Chief, it is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks. What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? They let you out of prison? You murderer? Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved. Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all, just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders, she must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. And then I heard him gurgling, the blood, and I saw him drawing my name. And then, he said, "You killed me?" I remember all of it now. I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, right? It's time to end this. To be continued. So, I wasn't sure if I was going to do all three of these, but we are really on a roll right now. And I do have about 2 hours left. I hope this isn't a 2-hour-long section. Doing a quick scroll through, trying not to look at anything too hard. It looks about as long as everything else, so yeah, I think we're going to do it, but I am going to take a really quick break, so I will be right back.